Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for joining. We're just going to wait a few minutes for a few more people to join. Inshallah, we are live on YouTube and Instagram as well. I think we'll now start with Ziyarat, if possible.
I was going to recite some Quran, if that's okay.
Yes, that's perfectly fine. Please go ahead.
أحسنت. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة إن الله مع الصابرين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة إن الله مع الصابرين. ولا تقولوا لمن يقتل في سبيل الله أموات بل أحياء ولكن لا تشعرون.
ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة أولئك عليهم صلوات من ربهم ورحمة وأولئك هم المهتدون إن الصفا والمروة من شعائر الله إن الصفا والمروة من شعائر الله فمن حج البيت أو ائتمر فلا جناح عليه أن يطوف بهما ومن تطوع خيرا فإن الله شاكر عليم صدق الله العلي العظيم.
Thank you so much for such a beautiful recitation. We will now be introducing our speaker today. Sheikh Ayub Rashid studied Islamic sciences at the Hawza of Qom. He then further went on to complete a bachelor's in Islamic law and a master's in Islam and community studies in the UK. He also lectures at the Islamic College for Advanced Studies in London, specializing in Islamic law and jurisprudence. We are live today on YouTube and Instagram, so if at any point you have any questions during Sheikh's talk, please do send them in, and inshallah at the end we will have time to have them answered. Sheikh, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. May Allah bless you all, inshallah.
Sheikh, just to let you know, I think your camera is off, so we can't see.
Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, I hope. Okay, can
Yes.
you see me?
Perfect. Yes. Salam, Sheikh. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, thank you very much. May Allah reward you all, inshallah.
Inshallah. Sheikh, whenever you're ready, please go ahead.
Ahsan, thank you very much. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك وعلى أهل بيتك المظلومين. صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله. صلى الله عليك يا ابن رسول الله. يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة. ما خاب من تمسك بكم وأمن من لجأ إليكم. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. قال الله تعالى في كتابه المجيد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد كان في قصصهم عبرة لأولي الألباب. ما كان حديثا يفترى ولكن تصديق الذي بين يديه وتفصيل كل شيء وهدى ورحمة لقوم يؤمنون. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah reward you for the musibah of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein and his companions, the noble ones who are with him in Karbala. We read in ayah 111 from Surah Yusuf. Surah Yusuf is surah number 12 in the Holy Quran. The last ayah, 111, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, certainly there are lessons in these stories and history for the people with wisdom and understanding. This Quran is not an invented narration, but a confirmation of what was in the previous books and a detailed explanation of all things and a guidance and mercy for the people and nations who believe. When we look at this ayah, which is 111 in Surah Yusuf, and when we want to connect it with what happened in Karbala, we come to know that what happened in Karbala and the stories we hear of people who participated in the battle in Karbala, we come to understand that that story of Karbala is a true story. It is a story which we learn from the people who participated because it's a human story. Karbala for us, it is an important because we learn from the noble people who participated to help to give Nusra to Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. So when we look at this ayah in particular from Surah Yusuf, we come to connect with Karbala that Karbala was a human story. And since it is a human story, it appeals to humans. Everyone who is known as a human being, if there is no any veil to stop him to see with the eyes and to hear properly and to comprehend, will get the effect from what he hears, from what happened in Karbala. When we look at the people who were with Imam Hussein alayhi salam, we see that they were women. Some of them were young men, young women, and there were those who were old. Majority of them were Muslims, but even non-Muslims participated to give help to Imam Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. This human story, we need it today. This human story, we can relate it to our lives today. This human story will remain until the day of judgment. This human story will be read by Muslims, by non-Muslims, by all the people of consciousness. This human story will help me individually, you as an individual also, to change, to bring something in your life, to say that when Imam Hussein, on the day of Ashura, in the land of Karbala, when he was alone, no any man was there to help him. When he raised his voice and he said, Hal min nasirin yansuruna, is there any helper to help us? Imam Hussein was an intelligent person. Imam Hussein was a knowledgeable person. Imam Hussein was a pious person. He knew there was nobody there. But for him to make that call, he knew there would be people, there will be people in the future, young and old, men and women like yourselves who have prepared these majalis. He knew you would come and you would want to share the story with others. And he was calling people like yourselves in order for you to send this message to the people who are not there. So when we look at Abu Abdullah al-Hussein and those who are with him, and especially when we want to talk about few personalities who helped him in all aspects of Karbala, then we see this young man by the name Qasim. Qasim, his story is very important to each and every one of us. All the stories are important, but when you look at the story of Qasim, is so special in the sense that Qasim was known as Qasim ibn al-Hasan. Qasim was the son of the brother of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Imam Hassan and Hussein, brothers. So when Imam Hassan passed away, he left children. According to Abu Mikhnaf, in his book of Maqtal al-Hussein, Abu Mikhnaf said that there were two sons of Imam Hassan who helped Imam Hussein in Karbala. These were Al-Qasim ibn al-Hassan and Ahmad ibn al-Hassan. These two were in Karbala. Now, go back at the time when Imam Hassan was about to die, when he was given poison by that lady who was bribed by the government of the time. When Imam Hassan was about to die, he was crying in the room, and Imam Hussein was crying a lot to see his brother suffering. And then Imam Hussein alayhi salam felt sorry for his brother. And as you can imagine, they were too close, not only brothers, but friends. They were friends. Here, Imam Hassan alayhi salam looked at Abi Abdullah al-Hussein and he said, "Oh Hussein, I can see what is going through your mind and the pain, I can feel it. But let me tell you one thing. La yawm ka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah. There will be no any other day compared to your day, O Hussein, or Aba Abdullah." That was in the year 50 AH. Karbala happened in the year 61 AH. The day of Ashura in the land of Karbala, then you could see what Imam Hassan alayhi salam said. La yawm ka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah. There will be no any other day compared to your day in terms of calamities, problems, and difficulties which you will face. So on the day of Ashura, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, his helpers came to help. When they fought and they were martyred, these two sons of Imam Hassan came forward and they said, "Oh Aba Abdullah, allow us to go to fight." Here, some historians say that Imam Hussein looked especially at Qasim and he said, "Oh Qasim, it's difficult. What can I say? Go to your auntie. Can you talk to your auntie?" This here tells us something, this action of Imam Hussein. It is as if Imam Hussein is saying, how can I allow Qasim to go to fight and I know he will be killed? And Qasim to me is amana. Amana means what? Amana means that trust someone has been entrusted to keep it. how can I allow Qasim to go? Go talk to your auntie. Qasim goes, talk to the auntie, says, Auntie, Hussein, my uncle doesn't allow me to go. Then the mother of Qasim says, oh, Qasim, come. I know that your father, Imam Hassan, has given permission. And then they come, brother and sister, Imam Hussein and Sayyida Zainab, they talk, look at Qasim. We have to get ready, to get him ready to go and defend. So now you can imagine, brother and sister, they look at Qasim in their mind, even though some historians have mentioned this. When he was given that turban, they said, look at him, he looks like our brother Hassan, sister and brother Hussein and Zainab, alayhim assalam, they cry because they know what would happen. But the historians are telling us that the young Qasim and Ahmad, they went, they fought even though they were young. According to historians, Abu Mikhnaf says that Qasim was about 14 years of age. 14 is a young man. In Islamic understanding, as we know, someone becomes a matured person when that person reaches the age of maturity, the age of puberty, bulugh. It could be 13, it could be 15, it could be 14, but Qasim was baligh. Now Qasim goes, he fights, he kills whoever he managed to kill. But later on, he was pounded by these devils and they finish him. And when he was on the ground, he called for his uncle to come and help him. And Imam Hussein alayhi salam went and he saw what he saw, and he saw Qasim in that particular time and area that Qasim was about to die. How difficult it was for Imam Hussein alayhi salam to remember Imam Hassan, to remember Qasim, to remember the mother who is waiting to see the young man in the tent. It was a difficult moment. And here, this is a musibah of Imam Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. In one line, it has been narrated that later on Imam Hussein alayhi salam said, how difficult it is for your uncle when you called him, and when he came, he couldn't help you much. However, this is just a message from Abi Abdullah to us. When you look at the story of Qasim now, when we want to learn the lessons from this story, we come to know that, number one, if you want to defend Islam by whatever you have been given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are few verses in the Holy Quran. Those who do jihad bi amwalihim wa anfusihim, they defend the religion of Allah, they defend Allah, they defend Rasulullah, they defend Islam. Bi amwalihim, by their wealth, wa anfusihim, and by themselves, by their souls. You spend your wealth, but as well as when the time comes for you to defend the right message, you are ready to give your life for the sake of that. Qasim did that. Lesson number two, when we look at Qasim, we come to know that when he went to defend Hussein, alayhi salam, he went to defend Rasulullah. He went to defend the religion of Allah. He didn't say, I am too young, or uncle or Hussein, don't allow me to go because I need to reach this age. I need to make sure I get this particular level of education and so on and so forth. He said, no, I am here. I am now ready. Don't mention about my father, Hassan. I am here to defend. Hassan was there as Imam. Jazahullahu khair al-jazam. May Allah reward him for what he did. But now I am here. I am here for this moment for me to defend the religion of Allah. He didn't say, I am young. I'm not able to do this and that. He said, I am here. The young people can get a lesson from Qasim that when the time comes for you to go and defend the right message, don't look at your age, because first of all, Islam doesn't look at that. Once you become baligh, then it becomes wajib upon you to discharge your duty. And Qasim did that. So that is an important lesson to others. Now, when you look at Qasim as well, you come to know that Imam Hussein didn't say that, let me send children of others, but those who are related to me stay back. The way, for example, we have had recently in some of these countries when they were sending people to cause problems to other countries, young people were sent there. But when these leaders were asked, what about your children? They said, no, our children, they need to go and study. When we look at Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, he didn't think that way. If you are going to defend the religion of Allah, you are going to defend the truth, you go with your children and our children also will come. And this again reminds you about ayah number 61 of Surah Al Imran, when there was this event of Mubahala, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَقُلْ تَعَالَوْ نَدْعُ أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ ثُمَّ نَبْتَهِلْ until the end of the ayah. Let us come with our children, your children, our women, your women, ourselves and yourselves. You could see Imam Hussein and Imam Hassan were there. Then at the event of Mubahala, you could say that, well, there was no any war, there was no any battle. But La'ana is equivalent to war. In Karbala, you see the manifestation of Mubahala again. When you see Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, not only him, but the children who are related to him like Qasim. When you look at Qasim, there are those people who believe that Qasim, when he went to Karbala, there was a plan to arrange a marriage for him. But then the marriage did not take place because of what happened and the Shahada happened. This is to tell us that, you know what? When it comes to defend Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, anything and everything can stop. You need to go and defend Abu Abdullah. Defend Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Because why? They defended Islam and we need to defend them to defend Islam. Qasim ibn al-Hasan to us tells us that, you know what? We should tell our children, our young men and women, that don't wait until you reach the age of 20, 25, you finish BA, MA, PhD, then you can be active within your communities and your societies. No, you need to be active when you are young. And the reward is big and immense when you are young and you give your service for the sake of Islam. For us, when we remember Qasim, then we know that Islam is in khair, Islam is in good shape and form, so long as we are going to have many Qasims. And when people listen to the story of Qasim, they shouldn't say that the life is so boring, we don't have anything to do. Because when you look at Qasim, Qasim tells you that, remember, when the time comes, you have everything to do for the sake of defending Islam. And for the young men and women, we need to tell them that, live your life in this world and make sure you leave an impact, because that will help for the people who will come after you to read your stories. And stories are made by people like yourselves. When we look at the story of Qasim, Qasim made a big impact. Even though Qasim was a young man, he didn't say, I don't have a role to play. Today we remember Qasim, and he left a legacy, which this legacy will be, insha'Allah ta'ala, shared by many people who will come after us and those other generations which will come until the day of Qiyamah. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah wa ala al-arwah allati hallat bifina'ik. Alayka minni salamullahi abadan ma baqit wa baqiya al-layl wa an-nahar. ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى أنصار الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. May peace and blessings of Allah be upon Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, and may peace and blessings of Allah be upon the helpers of Hussein, and may peace and blessings of Allah be upon the shuhada, the martyrs of Karbala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask him sincerely to allow us to go for the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah and to attain his shafa'a, inshallah. And may Allah be with those who help Hussein, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward the organizers of this majalis ببركة الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Thank you so much, Sheikh, for such a wonderful talk.
أحسن.
We did receive a few questions. If you have time, are you willing to answer a few of them?
Yes, please.
The first question we received was, you mentioned that the youth have their own roles to play, like Hazrat Qasim, and we should not shy away from them. How can you be sure what your role is to play?
Okay, very good question, mashallah. First of all, your role will not be known except by yourself. Unfortunately, we have never been tested to know that we have abilities within ourselves until when the times of test and trial comes. So you need to try to understand what can you be able to do. Imam Amirul Mu'minin Ali alayhi salam says that the beneficial man or woman is the one who knows his ability. So unfortunately, sometimes, especially with young people, they don't know their abilities. And unfortunately, the parents also suppress those abilities by saying, you can't do it. And our culture, unfortunately, we live in societies where people do not encourage others to come forward, especially the young people. You can't do this. You cannot do this. Oh, don't do this. This is difficult for you. We need to change this culture. You look at Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. Didn't say, Qasim, you can't go and fight. He gave him an opportunity. And for us, we need to say that, number one, parents, you need to know, you need to discover the abilities of your children. Number two, you young men and women, you too need to challenge yourselves. You need to go beyond what you think you can do. And you, a human being, Imam Ali alayhi salam again says, أَتَزْعَمُ أَنَّكَ جِرْمٌ صَغِيرٌ وَفِيكَ امْطَوَى الْعَالَمُ الْأَكْبَرُ. Do you belittle yourself and you say, I'm nothing. I'm this small entity. Don't look at yourself like that. This whole world, whole universe was created because of you. So do not belittle yourself. However, try to do take different tasks. Yeah. Start with exercises. Yeah. You go, you do this exercise, you manage, and you go another one. For example, when it comes for ibadah, divide your life into two parts. One is the acts of worships, and then the interactions with other people, mu'amalat. When it comes to acts of worship, you may say, I can't wake up and pray Salatul Layl. But Corona came, we know now many youngsters, they stay until after Salatul Fajr, they pray, they go to sleep. So there's no any excuse, oh, I miss my Salah. So you had that ability, but now test came and it has proved to you that you know what, you can do it. Similarly, recitation of the Holy Quran. There are many people who say, oh, I can't read Quran, it is in Arabic. Challenge yourself. Say, let me try. There are non-Muslims who are becoming Muslims, they manage to read. What about you? The whole generation of your fathers and mothers who are Muslims. Why can't you do that? You know why I'm mentioning this? Because on the eve of Ashura, we see Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his companions. They stayed awake reciting Quran. And the historians are telling us that the volumes, the sounds were heard. It was like the buzz of the bees by recitation of the Holy Quran. I may say, I can't read even one juzu, but try yourself, challenge yourself, say, I can do this, and so on and so forth. When it is fasting, when it is doing whatever, when inshallah our centers are going to be open. The way now, young people, you are organizing these majalis. Why can't you organize majalis at your centers? You may say that, oh, our elders, fathers, mothers may not allow us. Show them what you have done now. This is so beautiful to me. You can do there, and you can do in many languages, in English, in Urdu, in many other languages. You can organize things. When people see that you can manage to do things, they will give you opportunity to do. So challenge yourself. That's the conclusion I want to give. Challenge yourself.
Thank you very much. That was a very good answer. Thank you. Another question we have received is, Imam Hussein calls, is there anyone to help me? is that something that is applied for the whole of time, even after he has gone? And if so, how can we be sure that we help him now?
Yes, very good question. Number one, I believe, and many scholars have mentioned this, when Imam Hussein alayhi salam was making that nida, that call, Al min Nasirin yansuruni, this was after the martyrdom of Abil Fadl al-Abbas. Abil Fadl al-Abbas al-Amdar, Abul Fadl al-Abbas the victor, Abul Fadl al-Abbas the leader of the soldiers who are there on the day of Ashura. Why Imam Hussein says and make this call after the martyrdom of Abil Fadl al-Abbas? Any man was there? Yes. Well, there was one man. Who was this one? This was the only one who was remained was Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. We call him Marid Karbala. He was ill. He couldn't come. So Imam Hussein was not calling him. Definitely he was making this call to the people who are from the soldiers of Umar bin Saad, from the others. Hal min nasirin yansuruni aw yansuruna. Is there any helper to help us? So this is a call to you, to me, to all the people. And that's why you could see after Karbala, there were uprisings of At-Tawabun, those repentance who came and said, they said, well, we made a mistake. Why we didn't help Abu Abdullah? Let us now go and help him by revenge. Mukhtar al-Thaqafi came, and many, many more. And you know what? Imam Khomeini is a case which is near to us. 1979, he used Karbala to say that, you know what, I can wake the Iranian community up in order for them to stand against the injustice of Shah. Hal min Nasirin yansuruna, he used that to bring Islamic revolution. Yes, this call is for you, is for me, it's for all the nations, whether they are Arabs, non-Arabs, in Arabia, outside Arabia. It's for us to say, yes, it is for us now. Your role is to say, what can I do to help Abu Abdullah? Can you organize majlis? Do that. Can you serve niyaz, help the people with food? Do that. Can you help the people, for example, with blood? Do that. Can you educate? Can you write a line, poem, or an article? Send the message. You know, sometimes we do this julus in different cities and towns. We do it in our own languages. Many people, they don't understand what we do. Can you write an article to explain? You see these people who are marching around is because of what happened in Karbala. Can't you do that? Of course you can do more than that. You speak the language better than us. You know the community better than us. You know the mindset of young people better than us. Do it. You practice, you discharge your role, you practice what you can do, and you will see that next year you will say, oh, I made a mistake here, let me correct. It will be part and parcel of you. So this way, you will be able, insha'Allah ta'ala, to help those who are in need of getting your support, insha'Allah.
Thank you very much. The next question we have relates to the history of Karbala and how comes we don't hear about the brothers of Hazrat Qasim?
How we don't hear the brothers of
Hazrat Qasim. How comes the most of the history is focused on Hazrat Qasim rather than his brothers?
Yeah, I really don't know. I don't know why, but it depends, I think, with the preparation. For example, when I mentioned, I have a book here, which is Maqtal Hussein of Abu Mikhnaf. Abu Mikhnaf has written this book, and if you go to page 87, you can see clearly he talks about the Maqtal of Qasim here on page 87. He talks about Maqtal of Qasim, and he mentions clearly that there were two children of Imam Abi Muhammad al-Hasan alayhi salam, one Ahmad and another Qasim. So this depends with the preparation of Maulana, the reciter, what he wants to convey as a message to other people. And let me tell you one thing, these books of Maqatil which we read, sometimes we read the Maqtal which we are used to read. I read the Maqtal which people, they used to hear. So sometimes when I mention something which is not used for them, they may put a question mark sometimes. Or they may say, well, we haven't heard this. This is a new. Let me tell you, the maqatil of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein are many. The books are many. We haven't even mentioned, I may be wrong, half of what we know. It's because of our culture, we are programmed to go to a certain way of reciting this maqatil, and that's why. And some people, they have the custom of reciting what happened in Karbala on the day of Ashura. On the day of Ashura, they will read a long maqtal, and especially the brothers and sisters who listen to the maqatil in Arabic, then it's easy for them to hear a lot. We who do not attend these majalis in Arabic, we may not hear what had happened. So not to hear, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen or it wasn't mentioned or it's not there in the books of history. You can read this book Maqtal of Al-Hussein by Abi Mikhnaf, which has been translated into English, and you can see, for example, this is just an example of what we mentioned, that it's there. Now.
Thank you very much. Sheikh, we have one final question.
Okay.
In the upcoming days of Muharram, how can we best implement the lessons of Hazrat al-Qasim?
Very good question. I think the most important thing, don't make Qasim as your hero only in Muharram. Don't make Qasim as your hero only when you hear the Maqtal of Qasim. Make Qasim as part and parcel of your daily lives. So from now on, when you want to say, I am a young person, I can't do this, remember Qasim. Qasim, question, was he a Ma'soom? No. He was a son of Ma'soom. Yes, from the family of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Yes, the training, the upbringing, it was better than us. But at the same time, he was a young man. If this young man, Qasim, faced many enemies in Karbala, I too maybe can be able to do something. So don't do wrong. When you want to do something which is guna, sin, remember Qasim. And then challenge yourself. Say, if Qasim managed to do what he managed to do, I too need to change by remembering Qasim. Let us take Qasim as our hero. Put him in front of us. Every time when I feel down, I can't do anything, let me energize myself by remembering the name of Qasim. I think this will help us not only in Muharram, but also, inshallah, throughout our lives in this world, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Sheikh, for today and joining us.
Most welcome.
Alhamdulillah, we most surely have benefited from this session.
Alhamdulillah.
Inshallah, to everyone that is watching, we will be continuing with our series tomorrow. Our speaker for tomorrow is Sheikh Ghulam Abbas Laka, and he will be speaking to us on some lessons we can learn from Hazrat Abbas, inshallah. So once again, thank you, Sheikh, for joining us.
Most welcome.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahsantum. Fi amanillah.
Ya amanillah.